Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, President.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that the test of a civilised society is the way in which it treats its most vulnerable members. And so we're rightly considering this afternoon some of the various consequences of the economic crisis in terms of the impact on families and the poor in our societies, migrants and women, to name some groups. And in considering the suffering and hardships now being suffered by many people, we can think of various causes. The economic crisis itself, the reckless behaviour of financiers and bankers, but also the necessary correctional measures that can also lead to suffering and hardship. We must all bear responsibility for solving our problems, but there is a moral onus on us not to make the more vulnerable groups in our society the main victims of our correctional measures. A key value here is subsidiarity, looking at the role, for example, of families in particular in fostering generous attitudes and in providing economic shelter and protection. And another value is solidarity. I would like to say at this juncture that I disagree with the comments made to the effect that if Lehman Brothers were Lehman sisters, we wouldn't have an economic banking crisis. It's a rather untested proposition, it seems to me. We can all agree that we need to support gender equality and to enhance the participation of women, but I don't think we should resort to a certain kind of narrow feminist rhetoric when advancing that case, because I think we do demean the argument for gender equality when we oversimplify the analysis of our problems, and we also risk undermining the necessary solidarity between men and women, which is key to the resolution of our problems. For every person who is impressed by such arguments, there is somebody else who is repulsed and may even lose respect for the case for true solidarity among the sexes because what they see as overly aggressive rhetoric veering into misandry. Solidarity is the key, not divisiveness, and the two issues that seem to me to be most important are the needs of migrants and the needs of families. It's simply not acceptable to welcome migrants when you need them for your economy, and then to treat them as a nuisance or a challenge when the time of scarcity comes. We cannot claim to be a civilised society unless we respect the equal dignity of all persons who make it to our respective shores. And when trying to attract immigrants for the labour market, there should be proper channels, properly administered through member states' embassies abroad, to help prospective immigrants understand the culture into which they're coming, their obligations, but also their rights. We need structures that are indeed structured, but that are also generous. And when the time of challenge comes, there must be equal treatment towards people regardless of their national origin. The idea that migrant people suddenly lose their rights within a country because they can no longer find work should be an affront to our sense of decency and fair play. Turning to families, we have a debate about family life that is dominated by political correctness sometimes. We simply must recognise how family, as we've always understood it, where some people are in the role of earners, some in the role of carers and others being cared for, all within a unity, is a key cushion at a time of economic crisis. We must therefore embrace in particular the family based on marriage because of the stability and comparatively positive social outcomes for children with which it is associated. We must support through our taxation systems the contribution made by non-earning parents within the home, and we need to look at greatly enhanced provisions for parental leave for both fathers as well as mothers, supporting in particular the relationship between fathers and their children and the importance of that relationship. While supporting all of those who are currently parenting, including lone parents, in a generous fashion, we must educate people for marriage and child rearing as couples and provide incentives for people to provide this a caring environment. This is not to adopt some doctrinaire ideological position, but to recognise that what works best for children according to data is the society of their biological parents. That is the generally accepted position. The fewer social problems children face in life, the greater their happiness, and the lower the pressure on the economy, and the greater the number of economic contributors as distinct from economic dependence in a society. Thank you very, very much, Chairman.